Hello and welcome to Love My Poland. I'd like to start off today by addressing a question that I get increasingly often. Russ, what's up with your accent? You keep saying you're from the south of the US, but we can't detect any southern twang at all. Well, to answer your question, I've really never had a strong Alabama or Texas accent. I was born in Alabama and I lived there for 5 years before we moved to the Houston suburbs. I lived in Houston for 18 years before moving to Poland. I grew up with a lot of kids from all over the country and from all over the world, in fact. My next door neighbors were British. The kids across the street moved to Texas from Washington State in the northwest part of the country, and my other nearest neighbors were from California. But the most important reason I don't have an accent right now has to do with the fact that I've been living and teaching in Poland for over 2 decades. Every single day I use British audio and British video coursework material from the UK. And although I don't have any hint of a British accent, British people have told me that, I do think that it's impacted me a little bit. And on top of that, it's the influence that Polish English speakers may have had on my way of speaking. It's inevitable. I spend 9 hours a day with Poles who speak English with a Polish accent. That has to, after all these years, it has to have affected me a little bit. But I've got to point out that a lot of my family and friends live back in Alabama, and each year when I fly home to visit, I do so for a few weeks, even over a month sometimes. And I feel that my accent gets a little hint of Alabama. For instance, after some time, I might talk a little bit like this. I might say, "Hey y'all, it's so good to see you. When y'all coming over to Poland to visit me? I'll be your personal tour guide. I would love to show you around." As great as that Alabama accent is, I just don't feel that too many of my students would pay me to speak that way. So I default with this standard universal clear English accent. It's the teacher's tongue, so to speak. So I hope that this answers that question. Let's put that to rest. However, the main point of my video today has to do with the fact that I focus so much on Poland and so much on my experiences here that I feel guilty about one thing. I really do. I have failed to include Polish people themselves. Who are the Poles? What are the Poles? What do the Poles think about me and my fellow Americans? How are Polish people different from, say, people in Texas or Alabama? And what subcultures exist here presently? When you look at people on the street, who do you see? Today, I've invited a really nice young fellow that I met recently here in Częstochowa. He is a quote-unquote punk, and I mean that in the most amiable way. My punk guest today is named Daniel, and he's going to update us on what's happening with the punk movement here in Poland, or in Częstochowa. He'll be joining us right after the break. Stay tuned. So, my dear audience, this is Daniel. This is our punk today. He's joined us. Thank you for being here, Daniel.
Thank you for having me.
Good to see you today. We've got a few questions to ask you today, and I think the most obvious question is this one. What took you to the journey of becoming a punk? How did you get here?
My story isn't like, I didn't come out of the gutter and started hating everyone.
You weren't sleeping under the train station?
No. I wasn't train hopping, I can definitely tell you that much. Back in 2016, I was dating this girl during a summer camp. It was literally...
It always starts with a girl.
Yeah, it always starts with a girl. It was a very short relationship. It lasted 2 days, give or take.
2 days.
Yeah, 2 days. And after the summer camp ended, she dumped me. Oh. And for some reason, I got really depressed because of that. I don't know why. I knew that it was stupid, that it was a short relationship, and yet I still got really depressed. So, I kind of adopted different elements of emo culture, It wasn't the typical black hair with the bangs or skinny tight jeans or, I don't know, a My Chemical Romance t-shirt or something like that. But it was more of a mindset that I adopted, right? However, later I just asked myself, why do I feel this way? Right? So I started thinking, and I came to the realization that I feel angry constantly, I feel angry at the world, at everything that is happening,
You were definitely in love.
Yes.
So it was a mixture of pain, hurt, anger, right, that kind of pushed you this way.
Yes. The pain from the girlfriend, quote unquote, basically transformed into like the hate for the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. So how long have you been an actual member of the punk subculture? How long have you been doing this?
3 years?
3 years.
Yeah, something like that.
And I think we have to go, the first thing we have to look at is your attire. There's so many things that catch my attention. I could spend, Daniel, hours just looking at everything you've got going on here. And the first thing that kind of draws my attention is the bolt and the safety pin going on here. What is that?
I just found this bolt while I was out with my friend. I just saw it laying on the ground and I thought to myself, I'm going to pick this up. I didn't even think of how I'm going to use it. I just picked it up with the thought that I am going to use it. How? I don't know. I am going to use it. And so I just stuck it here. It actually screws really nicely into the safety pin.
Nice coincidence.
Yeah, nice coincidence. And the purpose of it is to just ask people why.
Yeah.
It's just to confuse people. It doesn't really have a deeper meaning or
You know,
something.
and I'm feeling a little nervous here. You've got all these dangerous things pointing at me, like this bracelet and what's going on up there.
Yeah.
What's the point of all of that?
I can tell you, well, you know, I can definitely tell you that this bracelet, it's not just to look pretty, you know? One thing is that the brass knuckles or just knuckles or however you want to call it.
Protection.
Yes, protection. They're illegal in Poland, like completely illegal, right? So the purpose of this bracelet is to use it as a legal brass knuckle.
Have you ever had to use it?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But I'm sure you get some interesting looks on the street, right? From some of the older members of our community.
Don't even mention it. God.
So I think that we can all. I also look at your hair. I'm thinking, where's the mohawk? That usually is the case. They have the
Yes,
mohawk, but with
yes.
you, it's a little different.
Yes. The only reason why I don't have a mohawk or like Liberty spikes, because there's also like this hairstyle called Liberty spikes. The mohawk is just like this, you know?
Yeah.
And Liberty spikes are, you know, like the Lady of Liberty. It's
Right.
literally just like in pieces of hair, just like.
Right, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They literally like spikes, just
Yes,
sticking up
yes,
off the
literally
head.
like spikes. And the only reason why I don't have a mohawk or literally Liberty spikes is because I just don't like them. Like, it's not that I don't like them, it's just that I think I would look bad in them.
Yeah, and I think that the connotation with being a punk is that you guys dress this way just to get attention. Is there some truth in that?
There is definitely a bit of truth in there. However, I think the main reasons why we dress this way is to make a statement.
Yeah.
You know, to make a statement with like patches, either
Yes.
DIY or like bought, and also I consider it like individualism on steroids. You know?
I'm looking at one of the badges here and I see Cyrillic, you know, has some Russian writing there. What's
Yes,
going on with that?
Yes, this is a badge made for liquidators at the Chernobyl disaster.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I bought it back when I was in primary school. I was really into like Russia, you know, Chernobyl, Stalker, stuff like that, you know, Metro. I was really into that, and so I just bought it, you know.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That's a nice find there. Very good stuff.
Thank you.
Okay, good. Now, what if somebody wants to join the punk club? Is there like an initiation? Do you have to have a membership for it? Like, how do you join your community?
Well, the invitation, if you could call that, is really simple. You just listen to punk. That's it. And you hold the values of punk deep into your heart. You don't even have to wear, you know, stuff like this. You can literally wear like blue jeans and a white t-shirt. As long as you listen to the music and you hold the values of punk deep inside of you, then you are a punk. Don't do the opposite though, which is you don't care for punk, you just dress this way. In that case, you are a poser, and posers are really, really disliked in the punk community.
Speaking of the punk community, I admit it, I'm 45 years old. I thought punk was dead. I thought that, you know, you don't see many of them anymore. They must be just off the globe, but that's in fact false, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is false. Actually, funny thing you say that punk is dead. We have this singular motto in the punk community: "Punk's not dead."
Punk's not dead.
Punk's
yes.
not dead, and you don't even write punk as in PUNK''S. You write PUNX.
Got it.
You write punks with an X, not dead.
It just saves the apostrophe.
Yeah,
Punk's
saves the
not
apostrophe.
dead.
So
So it's growing. There are more and more members around the
Yes,
globe, right?
yes, definitely. Especially in Poland, in my opinion, it's actually having a little bit of a rebirth. You know.
Wow.
So if you want to be a part of the community, you know, if you find it interesting, you can join.
Yeah, you have a Facebook page, don't you?
Yes, yes, yes.
Tell us about it.
I have a Facebook page. I go by Stratatellis on Facebook. I also go by Stratatellis on the internet overall. And I upload punk artwork, like punk/grunge, stuff like that, you know? And if you scroll down far enough, you can see, you know, my artwork with like a different style. You know, it's more of a VHS, glitchy, backtracking sort of way.
Right. And is there Polish punk music? Are there bands that just play punk music here?
Yes, definitely, definitely. Two of my favorite bands are Homo Militia and Post Regiment.
Yeah, I've heard of this one before. Leniwiec, is that right?
Yes, Leniwiec. Leniwiec, however, is good for people who don't know anything about punk and they want to start. So if you want to be an early bird and you want to start listening to punk, I would definitely recommend Leniwiec. And also another band called Pijama Porno.
Pijama Porno. I've actually heard of that before. I've seen it.
Yeah, it's a great name.
Okay, good. I'll actually put information about your page in my description as well as the music, the bands that you recommend, right?
Thank you
So if
very
anybody's
much.
curious, they can look more into that. All right, the last question I want to ask you today is, you know, one of the great things I actually appreciate and respect about punks is they were part of the movement really to bring Poland from communism into democracy. It was a spark that you guys gave, right?
Yes, yes. There is definitely truth in that. However, it wasn't a big contribution, you know. It was, as you said, a spark. Just a spark, however, it was enough to, you know, light the fire.
Yeah. So good for that, right? You have a mark in history here. Lovely. Well, again, yes, thank you for being here. It's been so fun to kind of meet you and talk with you. As I said, I don't get out enough, and everybody check out his Facebook page, learn more about it, and I look forward to talking to more people in the community. So this is a lot of fun. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
Have a good one. Well, that was a lot of fun for me to interview Daniel. I really mean it when I say I appreciate him stopping by. The one thing I learned from Daniel today is you can really never judge a person by their appearance. Daniel is an intelligent, motivated, ambitious guy, and I look forward to doing more interviews like this in the future. Put in the comments what you thought about this little interview, good or bad, what could be improved. I'd like to do more of them. If you have not become a subscriber to my channel, I would love to have you. We have a lot more on the way. There's a lot of episodes already made, around 100 now. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and click the button right here on my yellow note card so you don't miss out on future episodes. Thanks for watching and see you next time.